Welcome to the XSF podcast, hosted by Devante Erlinson and Louis Bombadiri. Everyone is capable of being extreme. Tune in Fridays to discover how you are too. Welcome everybody to episode 26 of the XSF podcast. I'm Devante. We got Lou, and
What's
today
happening?
we talked about training splits. Now, Lou, go ahead and explain to them what training splits means and what we kind of talked about when it comes to training splits.
Training split's going to be how many days a week you're going to be working out. What we talked about is being real with your training splits. Don't try to be the guy you see on YouTube tomorrow. Be the guy you are today and be real with what you're trying to do to get to who you're trying to be tomorrow. To start off right, you got to start 1 day a week, 2 days a week, or 3 days a week. But it's how we break down how we're going to work out the body on those training splits, whether 1 day, 2 day, or 3 days. I'm going to give you a little example of what we would do for a 1 day person.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so make sure you guys listen in because we do, like you said, we give you a whole workout that you guys can even go out and try yourselves. And it's really all about training today. We do go on a little bit of a tangent at some point. About parenting, but you know what it is. Everybody, hope you enjoy. You know what it is. Welcome to the XSF podcast. It says 1 on my side now.
Well, no, it
Does
doesn't
it say
say
on
anything. It
yours?
stops after 3.
Okay, so
Yeah,
we're going. Yeah, we're
you know what
good.
I laugh about is you ever see Wayne's World? You ever watch any of the Wayne's Worlds? All right,
Yeah.
so
Oh, yeah. When I was
you
younger,
remember
yeah.
when they try to like be professional, do like the count off, and they're both just like 5,
Oh,
and like, you're not supposed to count with us, and then like,
you know,
and then he's
yeah.
sitting there, he's like,
That's just me right there. I was just like, is it going? All right. Welcome.
yeah,
Yeah, let's get to it. No, I'm playing. Yeah. So, me and Lou have been talking a lot lately about training and
as we
mainly
do,
training. Yeah, as we do.
that's what we do,
Like every week,
all the
like every
time.
week, I think, right? But I mean, hey, but more specifically, like training splits. This has kind of been something on our mind a lot heavy this week, just because it goes into play with a lot of the things we've been talking about lately. And I feel like for most people, man, like you can get really far with a lot different goals in mind and just having a different perception of things. Like me and you were just talking about before the episode, we can have this goal to go to the gym 4 days a week, right? You can set that goal for yourself off the rip, but then you don't hit that day, and then how do you feel? Like you miss a day or you miss 2 days, then how do you feel? And it's like, okay, if you're noticing that's the issue, it's not a bad thing. It's not that you have, it's like, oh, I suck at training, I can't do this, I won't make my goals. Like, nah, it's like, just change it around and maybe change the training split up a
Yeah,
little bit. Maybe go less days and
maybe be more realistic.
go ahead,
Maybe be
Lou.
more realistic too. Like, we get real quote unquote motivated and jacked up. And like maybe signing on with a new trainer. Like if you're gonna be someone who's not into fitness, then you're going to be someone who's going about to be into fitness, and you're gonna sign up with someone, a trainer, whether it's at a gym or online or whatever. You're now in a mind frame of a goal and intention. You feel good because that's why you even made that move to go sign up with someone. So we're already there. You're all jacked and feeling good. So when they ask you that question that everyone gets asked, so how many days a week you definitely working out? Not just with me, just in general. You're 4. I'm
Mm-hmm.
here at 4 easy. And then when the actual time comes, that Monday comes, you're gonna start, and you made 2. It's not that it's bad to make 2, but you're gonna feel a little shitty about yourself because you said 4, and you're not getting those 4, and then you're taking back on your word and all that. So it's before we even get into training splits, it's being real with yourself. Of what can you really do? What are you really gonna do? If anything, start small. Say 1. I'm gonna say 1. All right, cool. Let's get you to 1. We get 1 for a little bit. We're consistent with 1. Let's go to 2. Then let's go from there and more and more and more. Because the more you tell yourself you're gonna do something, you don't do that, the worse you feel off about yourself, and that becomes a habit. Telling yourself you're gonna do something and not doing it becomes a habit, and then you'll habitually do that. You'll be the guy that everyone, you should meet your boys again, or your girls, you meet them again for dinner in 3 months, and everyone's doing
Mm-hmm.
whatever they're doing. It's like, oh, did you do that? No, they don't even ask you anymore. Like when you say, oh, I'm gonna go do that, they're like, yeah, all right, you're gonna go do that, sure, just like you can do everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
was that person for a very.
Yep.
I think a lot of humans are that person until you're not. But That's what you want to
Well,
do.
it's like actions speak louder than
Always, yeah.
words, right? I mean, it kind of just plays to that. So it's like you can talk all day to like what you want to
Yeah.
do, which is fine. Like you can want to do
So you should
things. Like
want to do things.
that's a lot. Yeah, you should want to do things, but you have to understand like there's levels to things in
Mm,
everything that we do, whether
absolutely
it's your
everything.
job, whether it's training, whether everything. There's levels to things, and you have to humble yourself enough to realize that in order to kind of get to like where you want to be, at least with training and in your mind too, because it's just a mental game at that point. Because then you're just fighting yourself. Like there's no one else fighting you but yourself. So something you mentioned was, hitting it with like 1 day a week, and I'm gonna throw something out there that's kind of crazy for most people, but speaking to the general population out there, 1 day a week full body. Now, let me say this before I go any further. Now, if this is your choice, you would have to go, a little bit longer session than about the 45 minutes to an hour, just because you have that 1 day. But you could do a amazing full body workout that 1 day, and the remainder of your week focus on heart health through cardio, of even just walking and stuff like that. If you're not into like playing a sport or anything, maybe just try hiking out, something a little bit different. But something like that can be an amazing start. Just because once you start catching that flow, then, let's say you do your first day on Monday, just to start your week off, because it helps you just feel amazing on Monday to get your workout in. Boom. And then, you go on your walks Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday comes around, and you're like, dude, damn, I killed this week. And then you're feeling good, and you go to the gym again. You hit it 2 times. Yeah, there might not be a plan that second day like we always talk about, but, at least then you're just getting more work in. You're doing something that is a plus and doesn't make you feel like you took a step backward. So I think that's a really great place to start when like we talk about training splits for general population, and like just really starting out. Whether it's getting back to it, like myself. I mean, me and Lou literally just had this conversation about myself. I'm like, dude, I want to freaking lift heavy again. I want to do all this stuff. He's like, all right, dude, I know. But we gotta, take it a step at a time, dog. I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, I gotta kick it back.
We all
It's just the same
we all
thing.
have admirations of ourselves. We want to do like great things. At least most people, And like again, you got to be real with yourself when going into these. So if your training split is once a week, that's great. Because the way I look at it too is, again, if you're someone who was never really into fitness or fit or anything like that, and now you're trying to be that person, it's not gonna happen overnight. So with 1 day a week, if you actually, even if it was only 45 minutes an hour, as long as when you're
Yeah, I
there
mean,
for
you
that
still can get it
45
in.
minutes an hour, you're there. You're not on Instagram. Yeah, go check it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you're not that person. Like I walk in the gym. I'm not hating. I'm just stating. You're sitting on the leg press playing, War of Worlds or whatever, War of Warcraft. Like, all right, which one are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, if that's what you want to do, have fun. But I'm over here trying to leg press. There's only one machine. If you want to do that, have consideration of others, and do that in between. I don't know, 35, set 35 and 36. You know what I mean? But like, if you're gonna go that one time,
Mm-hmm.
make sure you do that one time. Then you're gonna start noticing how much that day might feel. Like the day of, oh, I'm going to the gym today. After you work out, while you're working out, you might start feeling like, oh, this working out thing, this moving a little
Feels
weight,
good.
this getting certain body position, this intentional moving. This feels pretty good. I'm starting to feel. You
Mm-hmm.
know what? Maybe I'll go
Mm-hmm.
a second day. Because no one's telling you do it. You're doing it. So there's no pressure. You're not trying to go on stage right now. And then I go into day
Mm-hmm.
2. Okay. Oh, day 2 feels good. Now we got to flow with day 2 for a couple of weeks. We
Mm-hmm.
might throw day 3 in there. You might not. You might stay at day 2. You might stay at day 1. But the point is you're doing it. And
Mm-hmm.
typically, you're gonna start doing more. That's just the way the body moves. Object in motion stays in motion. Like it's tough to be someone who moves a lot and then just stop moving. Unless, like for me personally,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like I
Motion
like to
creates
earn that
motion.
stuff. Like for me to be lazy on a Friday night and watch a movie and eat some bad foods, I consider quote unquote bad foods. I'm not telling other people bad foods are for me personally.
No.
Then I earn that throughout the week. You know, but that's me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No.
if your splits 1 day a
Mm-hmm.
week, that's great. That's great. We're here just trying to get you in the
Mm-hmm.
gym, period, or in the fitness, period. So 1 day a week
That's
is great.
Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah, like what? All right. So what would you say off of that? I think that's like a good place to start for somebody who just hasn't
Yeah.
been doing anything. Like if you're just trying to get into it, like I think that's a good place to start.
And
Now,
hold on, real quick,
let's say this
because I
person
know there's
does
gonna be
that.
people that are thinking like this. If you were the ones that worked out in high
Yep.
school, played sports in high school, and it's 10 years later. This is 10
Different
years later.
story.
You're still one of the people that just came off the couch. You know what I'm saying?
You're
You're
still one of
not,
the people.
yo, well, I used to
Exactly.
throw,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
Uncle Rico. I used to throw that pigskin a quarter mile over him. It was over there. Like, yeah, chill out, bro. You know what I mean? Let's really start. Like,
yep.
come on now. You know what I'm saying?
That's what
That's being
I was
real.
just to say. Like, don't think it's a
Yeah,
different story here.
it's
Yeah,
not.
don't think it's a different story here. Like you haven't ran
Yeah.
since 11th grade,
I
and
used
now
to. I
it's
used to
you're
be able
35.
to.
Yo,
Yeah.
yeah,
So let's get back to
yeah,
it. This is
which
cool.
is fine. Like,
Exactly.
just
That's the
accept
whole
that.
the
That's okay. But
beginning. Be real with yourself. All right, cool. And then let's go. Let's go
yeah,
now.
so let's say you do that, right? Now let's say I'm Joe and I'm doing this. I get back into it. I'm doing this for 4 months and I'm rocking it. Now where do you go from here? What would you suggest a good sustainable split to be for the average 9 to 5 person, even skateboarders out there, because a lot of skaters, if you're not a pro skater, you're probably working a 9 to 5 job, and you're more on the spectrum of this general population. Yes, you are still on the athlete side, but if you really skate like that, but most people just want to go have fun. So
What I'm
still tune in
suggesting,
right here. This is
I
gonna be some
always
good
like to
stuff.
suggest 3 days because of this reason, right? And again, you're gonna talk to people. Like I love going to the gym. You love working out. You can't wait. Some people just can't, but they know they want to, right? There's a difference between loving to do it and
Mm-hmm.
wanting to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because you know it's good for you,
Mm-hmm.
not because you want to do it. Because I love doing this shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So I'm saying 3 days a week for this reason. Let's say you go Monday, you get off Tuesday, you go Wednesday. You might go Friday, you might go Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Because you might want to go out Friday night, wake up a little later, and then go to the gym Saturday, get that hungover back, and go back again Saturday night. I don't know what you're into. But this is a more realistic approach, at least for me, because after the weekend, you go on a Monday. All right, you get your workout in. I get through Monday. Like, Monday could be your, like, oh, it's Monday, it's terrible. What you do is you add the gym in. So when Monday's over, it's like the rest of the week is a breeze. You went back from after the weekend to the job you probably don't like, and if you like it, I'm so happy for you. And then you get to do something else you don't really like to do, but you know you should do. And then Tuesday is like, oh, this is Tuesday? Monday just sucked. Tuesday's chilling. And then you go back to the grind on Wednesday, get that gym.
Yep.
Thursday, what? Oh my God, it's Friday. Now you might not want to go to the gym Friday. You might want to go to, you might want to go to the other bar. I like to go to the Barbell. You might want to go to Jim's Bar and Grill. I don't know what you want to do. But then so Saturday you go. You know what I mean? And that's why I always like to suggest those 3 days because you can play with them real cool. Like you could, even if it's not Monday, you don't want to go, right? You want to go Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, or Sunday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It works out well, especially like I think a good thing to speak to here too is like the fact of it being like, how would you set it up now? So I want to ask you, so I'm know who's ever out there listening is maybe asking like, okay, well, if that's the case, do I do full body?
Right.
How do I set it up? Do I do?
I'm doing.
What do I do? I know what I would say. I want to see.
I'm doing full body all 3 days. I'm just trying to hit a squat pattern, a hinge pattern, a push pattern, a pull pattern, and a carry pattern. And now my push and pull patterns.
Yep.
I'm going to try to switch up, whether they're vertical pressing, which is more overhead, or horizontal pressing, which is more of a press that way. Obviously, typically on your back, otherwise the load is not going to be for your pecs and shit. So that's the way I would split it up. How I would split the vertical and horizontal, honestly, depends on the person's profession. If there's someone that their arms are typically always overhead, we're going to strengthen some of that a little more, you know what I mean? If not, maybe not. But we're still going to go overhead because we should be overhead. A lot of times people go throughout their life, when's the last time you did this? You can't even get to up there, So, but that's what I'm gonna do. As long as we're getting a squat, a hinge, a push, a pull, and a carry, and that's something I always look to aim for. Squat obviously is the knee flexion pattern, hip flexion, and then a hinge is hip flexion. Your deadlifts, your kettlebell swings, your interior loaded, good mornings, your pull throughs. Your squats could be your Bulgarian split squats, your regular body split squats, your isometric split squats, goblet squats, back squats. Squat it up, squatty potty if you want. You know what I mean? If that's where you're at, you're just starting to back up. For real, if you're just starting to back up and you can't be using too many modalities, but your body, you could just body squat it. Just use time now. Slow down the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because a lot of people just come off the couch. Stop going to YouTube and looking at someone whose training age is 10 and your training age is 10 seconds, and you want to hop on a barbell and you want to be Joe Jackness in the corner, but you're not helping yourself because 3 weeks later you're going to be hurt. Use your body weight, learn proper positioning of the body, and then slow down time.
Slow it down.
That's it. You know, but again,
Hmm.
realist.
There's
Got
a
to be
lot of
real with
things you
yourself
can play
before you
with.
hop into
There's
these
a
goals. Because you're
yeah,
gonna hop in the gym and you know what I want to do? I want to squat
yeah,
300 a week. What the hell are you talking about? But that's what I'm starting.
like, like yeah, like I mean, I love that, and I'm the same thing. I would go definitely full body. Now for me, uh, I would definitely. I mean, I love everything you said. So making sure you have the hinge, the squat, the push, the pull, and then a carry. Now, what I would do right on every single day, I would do some form of carry. Whether I would go, what I would do right is you can set these up however you really wish, and this, like we said, kind of depends on the individual. Like, what's your job? Are you sitting at a desk more with your arms here? You know, it depends, like how we set this up. But I would go suitcase carry one day, so you're holding it in one arm, so one side. So you're fighting that, and I'm just going to use words that I know, and I don't know how to dumb it down at all. But
You're stopping
you're fighting that
yourself.
anti-lateral
Yeah,
flexion,
you're
and
stopping
it's
yourself
pretty
from
much the
moving side
side
to side.
bend.
So you
That's
walk with that weight in your hand. Do your best just
side
to
to
stay
side,
upright. Don't let
and
your
from also
body
bending
sway
to the
left or
side
right.
as
Just let
well.
it stay
Exactly.
straight as possible.
Yep. Just like if you're carrying a bag of groceries in, and you take all that load on one side, and you have the other hand open to open the door. Think about how you're trying not to let your body bend and twist. That's essentially what you're doing with the load in your hand, right? I would do that, and then another day I would do farmer's walks, right? So that's going to be both hands loaded up, like you're carrying both hands of groceries. Uh, Now, the next thing I would do is make sure I'm also doing an overhead carry. If you can get into a good overhead, I was going to say, if you can get into a good overhead position, if you can see what we're doing on video, if you watch here on YouTube, but if you can't, right, then that's okay. What I would then do is actually, and this, a lot of people, this is going to sound weird, right? I would actually just walk backwards, if you can.
Phenomenal.
So the reason for this, yeah, the reason for this is a lot of people okay, and also how I'd set this up is this would be like your start to your workout. The reason why is a lot of general population, when you have those 3 days, you might only be in there for 45 minutes, right? Let's kick off the CNS, your central nervous system, with something like this. Of course, after you prep and do a little bit of mobility stuff, whatever you need to kind of feel right. But I would love to do this as that, kind of set the CNS off, just to kind of get you going and then get into your
Dude,
lifting from
that
there.
is
But
amazing.
that's
I
how I
love
would
that. And
set
also,
myself
that's
up.
so great because we're such interior, we're frontal beings, where everything's in front of us because our eyes are over here. We perceive everything in
Yeah,
front of us. So when
yeah.
you actually are walking backwards, the things going on, your
Mhm.
CNS, you're doing things you don't do ever. That's phenomenal.
Dude,
That's
I have
so
my
huge
grandma
for
doing
grandma to
this.
do
I have
too.
my grandma doing this, and she's 80 years old, and yeah, and she had like complete reconstructive ankle surgery. Like she had a
Wow.
fusion and stuff and everything, and she thought she would never be able to get like that much dorsiflexion out of her ankle at all. Dorsiflexion, if you don't know, so think of like, okay, so plantar flexion is pretty much pushing your toes into the ground, doing a calf raise, and then dorsiflexion would be pulling those toes up to your shin essentially. So if you're doing a tib raise or something like that. Now, she thought she was never going to have that. I had her walking backwards. Not only did her balance increase, which is one of her goals, but then all of a sudden she was able to squat just a little bit lower without a board underneath her
That's
heels,
phenomenal.
right, and without pain. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. But that's how I set myself up. And then if you're not able to
Yeah.
carry overhead,
Carry in
obviously
front of you.
work up to that point,
Hold. You can do a
because that's yeah,
goblet
carry
style
exactly.
carry,
Hold it.
and you don't even have to move. You can
Yep.
do marches with that. You can do marches with that,
Perfect.
right?
I love
But
that.
a great if you can get
Mm-hmm.
your arm overhead,
Mm-hmm.
if you have that joint mobility, then you want to do take. Let's say you had a kettlebell in
Mm-hmm.
your right hand, and you held it right with your knuckles facing your face, and you pushed it all the way up, and then you had the other kettlebell in
Mm-hmm.
your left hand holding straight down, and you walk that way. Walk 30 steps, and then switch that. So now I'm coming back. My right hand is down by my hip, holding the kettlebell. My left hand is up above my head, still knuckles facing the face, and you're gonna walk again. Same style. Don't let the
Mm-hmm.
body sway. You
Mm-hmm.
know, even if now if we're watching YouTube, if not, I'll try to
Mm-hmm.
explain it. But when your hands overhead, you want to try to depress that scapula. So instead of being up here, you want to be down here. That subtle movement. Press it up and then drop it down. So if you're not on YouTube, it's tough for me to
Yep.
explain how
And
to
if you're
depress the scapula
the
visually.
I think the best way for me to explain it for those just
Back
listening is like
shoulder, the
think
back
about
pocket.
this. When you go to reach, there you go. Boom. Yeah. So it's like you can feel it. Like if you have your arm, if you're reaching all the way
To
up,
show
you'll
you
feel
right.
your arm kind of come up. and you can set it back down without everything kind of coming down too far. You'll feel it. Just play around with it. Put your
exactly. Yeah,
do a little
before
test
you
for us. Put your
before you
arms up,
load all these
move around.
movements,
It's not that
before you
hard.
load all these movements,
Just mess
make sure
around with
you
your
get
body.
them into the joint
Yeah.
position.
Think about this, right? So one big thing is like bodybuilding. So a lot of people, general like population too, the goal
Everyone
is
wants to
body
look
recomp,
good.
right? And think about this, a bodybuilder, one big thing that they do is they literally stand there and they flex. That's how they pose. Now, how do you think they can connect to those muscles so well? Now, I know some bodybuilders, they be on that juice, I'm not disregarding that, but I'm just saying there's still a connection that they have, and that's from taking their time to just learn their body in those flexing positions, learning how a muscle contracts in certain areas at certain joint angles, all that stuff, and that's, to me, that's what they're doing. They might not think that in their head, but that is what they're doing.
Because as you're saying that, I'm thinking of like other sports.
But that's just anybody. No, but I'm just saying, like, for those thinking of, like, if you want body recomp and you want to, like, lose weight and get shredded or whatever, like, when it comes to
intentional
just connecting with the body more, like, I think there's something there, just sitting there. Exactly, just sitting there and just before you even pick up a weight,
this is what that's like.
Just sitting with your body and being like, okay,
Gotcha.
how does the bicep flex? How does the bicep flex here? Stuff like that.
What I was saying earlier with, like, when you go in the gym, don't be the dude who goes on YouTube and sees, or even, like, don't go on my page and be like, yo, wow, Lou's like squatting or whatever.
Yeah.
I just got back on a barbell a couple months ago, and I was maxing like 225. Now I'm repping 315. You know what I mean? So it doesn't just happen overnight. And that was after me for 3 months, actually like 6 months. Yeah, I've been working on my whole life.
He's also,
now I know what's going on. But like, and I have a coach who does this for me. But like that was also after about 3 to 6 months of sitting in my apartment using kettlebells, really working the movement of my body. So once I got under a barbell, I understood what I needed, the tension with my upper back, where my elbow placement should be, my bracing and core bracing of my where my rib cage should be, where I should be breathing, where my pelvis should be in relation to my rib cage. When I now descend in a squat, all these things I understand now in a squat. It's not just me. Like if I say to someone, "Hey, what are you doing when you squat?" and I go, "I'm going to the ground and come back up." Like, okay, no, you're not. Like, yeah, you are, but you're not. So it's like, if you got to the point where you truly learned the movements of your body, how it felt to be in positions before you loaded them, then you're raising your ceiling. Because now, if you just go in the gym after being on the couch and you go to the barbell, your ceiling's right here. You're gonna go here, and you're done. But if you first come off the couch and do body movements, you raise and understand what this is all like, to move with tension of time, of your own body weight, of gravity, your ceiling will be up here. And then you'll be able to work out and feel good. You don't have to be doing it for Instagram. Or whatever you're doing it for, you know what I mean?
I love that you spoke on that, though, because I think that's a good thing to kind of leave it off with, is like, all right, so if you're going to start, get into just 1 day a week, just get in there, get doing it, start walking, the other days, just get your body moving. Now, an ideal split, like we said, would be those 3 days a week, full body. One thing that I want to touch on, though, is the fact that you did bring up, like, one piece of equipment that can get you a long way is a kettlebell. And don't think you don't need much at home. Like, I have a whole gym set up, but I'm about to get myself with just, body weight and kettlebell.
I was working with all of COVID, 18-pound kettlebell, 36-pound kettlebell, 54, and then I got a 96. You know what I mean? And that's it.
Exactly, and that's somebody who's been that's somebody who's been really putting in the work. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, look, you can do everything we're talking about with just body weight, and me and Lou are always here to help you guys out.
Before we leave, I'm
going
to give you a real quick
everything's
example
down in the show
let's
notes.
say a quick full body workout.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give it to the 1 day a weekers. You know what I mean? So
yeah, let's do it. That's perfect. Thank you.
Let's say you're gonna do for your squat.
And
I'm gonna say you could even hit it with a heels elevated goblet squat. So you're gonna hold a kettlebell, or you can even have a dumbbell like this, where this is the circular rubber part. You're in here, and then the other circular rubber part. If the kettlebell, you're holding it by the horns. Okay, you want to be tight in like this. So if you're not on YouTube, get on YouTube. You hold it in tight like this. Elevate your heels by putting like 2 25-pound plates under each heel. 1 25-pound plate under each heel. Unless your gym has one of those heel elevated things, cool, great. Hop on that. Elevate your heels, and now Try to keep that
The slant board or
torso,
whatever.
that back straight up, and when you initiate with your knees bent forward, and keep that torso straight up, tight, holding that kettlebell. Couple reps goes nice and slow, nice and slow. Don't even really worry about reps and shit. Just get through it. See what your body's like. Again, you're coming from the couch to the gym. Don't try to be, Arnold Schwarzenegger first day in. He had to go to boot camp before he can go to predator school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just
So
see
you got
what
to
your
start
body
off.
can do.
Then for the hinge, depending on where you're at, you could be doing straight up glute bridges, where you're laying with your back on the ground. And now this is the trick with glute bridges. A lot of people mess up. You got to put yourself in a posterior tilt which means, all right, so if this is my hips, right? If these are my hips and this is the side, this is my right hip, anterior tilt would be like this, which is that typical, like, look at my butt. And now posterior is tucking it under. So now we're tucking it under. So you want to tuck it under and then thrust up. Thrust up your heels, your whole foot on the floor, pressing your upper back into the ground, remaining stable. Posterior tilt, thrust up.
The biggest tip I have for that posterior tilt thing is you'll notice it before you set and before you hinge. Notice what your lower back's doing with the ground. That's why I love this movement, because that ground is a perfect feedback point for you if you have not been used to this, right? Because a lot of us that comes into your TVA, and if you don't know what TVA is, it's your transverse abdominis muscle, and it's the muscle that it's underlying your rectus abdominis. Your rectus abdominis is that six pack you see on top, right? Now, this TVA muscle, if you think of like a
so stop wearing those belts.
Right? That's what that is for your spine.
Stop wearing a friggin' belt. Like, unless you're about to go squat,
huge thing.
Heavyweight or deadlift,
huge
heavyweight, stop wearing the belt.
So, and here's why too. I want to explain something, because the belt, it's teaching you to brace your core the opposite way that you should if you have no belt, right? And that's taking the TVA out of its like play of how it should, sucking itself, the belly button almost to the spine, almost is how you would do it, right? Think about a weightlifter. You're doing a snatch and clean. You're going overhead with something. They don't have a belt on. You look at their stomach.
So stop wearing the belt.
It's always sucked in. It's not.
He's
going to
tell you nice. I'm going to yell at you. Stop wearing a belt.
Yeah, but stop. But yeah, with that being said, feedback from the ground is great. You'll feel this arch in your back almost, and you can even play with it, like give it an excessive anterior tilt, and then find that posterior. Hold that for a second. Give yourself a couple breaths in that position, and basically then start
with your back flat on the ground. That's the best way to find your posterior tilt. Yeah, because and the way you can do that too. Now, if you don't have a trainer, which you should go get some, but if you don't, put a towel on the ground, right, and then lay on it. And then now, the way you can test yourself is try to pull it from underneath your own back while you're trying to posterior tilt. It's going to be a little more difficult than if you had someone else doing it for you, if you have a friend, whatever. But that's how you can get your own feedback as well. If you can't pull that towel, you're good to go. So now after the hinge part, let's do a horizontal push. Now, I would do push-ups, straight up. We're talking brand new. You could do push-ups.
Yeah, and I would go elevated. If you're that on the wall, even because you can play with the angle.
But I mean, also,
if you're just brand new, like super brand new.
If you're talking
like,
if I was to tell that to some dude on the job who's 34, he would smack me. I'm straight up. Like I'm already telling him don't touch barbells. And now, because you're talking to a guy who's like, I used to do this.
That's fine. Yeah, no, I'll give you that one. Yeah.
But then let me teach you how to do the push-ups properly. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Start with time. About shoulder width apart. When you come down, think about externally doing this with your shoulders. Think about turning your hands out into the ground, gripping the earth so you don't mess up your wrists, right? Mm-hmm. Slow. Go nice and low. Come back up. I'm talking 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up. You can even stop in the middle. Play with it. You're not doing push-ups to win a challenge here. Nice and slow. Keeping your back flat.
No. And the thing is, too, like, throw the wall thing out of there, too, because you can even, let's say, you do a couple reps, like, okay, this is too hard, just go to your knees. That's simple. Like, just go to your knees. Knees with your feet on the ground still, and then you can take those feet off the ground. That'll add more load, and then go back to your feet, and boom, you're good to go. But yeah.
No.
Horizontal pull. So we did horizontal push.
I don't want to do a horizontal and then a horizontal. Oh,
sorry. Okay, sorry. Yep.
The muscle fibers. If I
push
horizontal,
days.
I don't want to pull horizontal right after.
No.
I want to switch it up. So now what I'm going to do, if you can, go to pull-ups.
Yeah.
If you can't, go get a resistance band, sit on the ground,
pull-ups.
Single arm, sit on the ground, and knuckles facing the face, pull your elbow down, okay? Pull the elbow down. Think about that. Boom. Okay.
Neutral grip.
Grip.
Yeah.
Really work that lat muscle. Don't let your body lift up off the ground. Keep your whole body on the ground. I would have my legs straight out. So if these are my feet down here, this is my torso here. Boom. That's how I'm looking on the ground. Don't let your body move. Really master that. Then you can go to double arm. You can go up to a half kneeling. You'll work your way up to the pull up. Boom. Before you pull up, pull down. If you could do pull up straight up, do straight up pull ups. And then do your carry.
No, that's. Yeah. And let's say you don't have equipment, then I would just go first. I would go just eccentric, like get a chair. If you have a pull-up bar, I mean, you can use pretty much damn near everything.
Anywhere you can pull.
I've used trees
but
before.
Now, if you don't have any of that,
so
if you don't have any of that,
if you can. But now, if you don't, that's why. So that's why I was going to suggest, like, not necessarily going for horizontal pulling, but like, or horizontal but still vertical, but doing it more from a point of just lower, so you can be just supported down low. You can use like your table or something, right? If you have the right kind of table, some tables are set up weird, but if you have a nice edge on your table, you can even do that in this almost like just pretty much feet on the ground, like hinged position, like you're going to sit down. And then you just play with the pull-up in that way, nice and slow, and get used to it. That's another way you can do it. Trying to not go necessarily like a body weight row.
Check this out. Even if you don't have any of that, as you just have
just
a broomstick
throw that in
or
there.
a dowel, so it's something that's straight, right? You can, if you want to hit
I love this one.
These fibers back, you can hold on to that broomstick in front of you and just think about pulling it apart. Don't actually pull your hands apart. Think about pulling it apart. Your upper back muscles were engaged like crazy. And the muscle fibers don't know if they're moving or not. They're just engaged. They're stimulated. You know, it's not just sensation, it's stimulation. That's how the muscles are going to work. If you stimulate them, you're good to go. You know what I mean? And now another thing you could do is if you have any type of structure of a house around, buildings, doorway, you put that, you get on your knees, flat back. So if my knees are here, I'm on my knees, my back is flat, my hands are straight out this way like Superman, I'm going to put that dowel. Let's say this screen is a door. I'm going to put that dowel, and I'm going to be pulling. So my head's going to be this way, like Superman, and I'm pulling the dowel against whatever's stopping it from coming to me. Those muscle fibers will engage as if you're doing a pull-up. So you could even do that. You could, I mean, shit, if you had to go, I'm not going to say go rob a store of a broomstick, but if you had to borrow a broomstick, if times are that rough, and you had to go borrow a broomstick, and you had to, and then go find a doorway to use this, I got you. You know,
you'll figure it out.
Yeah, you could use a stick from the park.
You find a big enough stick that would work too. Even
if you had a quote unquote, it's not robbery. It's you're borrowing it. Just don't get caught borrowing it because the cops aren't going to listen to you.
Yeah, it's
they're not going to believe you.
Just
they
bring
just
it back.
think you were robbing it. So I'm not telling you to go do that. I'm saying you had to.
All right. So we got our squat, we got our hinge, we got our horizontal push.
Like we stated earlier, and this could be, you could take a plastic bag and fill it up with coconuts and just walk with it.
This could be,
carry that kid.
Hey, you got a kid? You know,
hold on, real quick.
Carry that kid in the car seat around for a little bit or something.
If you have a kid, why, especially in Manhattan where you got busy streets, why are you pushing that kid in the stroller and staring at your phone the entire time? Bro, I'm talking, like, I'm watching this coming down the block. I'm watching this twitching as they come, because I don't have kids, but what are you doing? Like, pushing the stroller, like, one hand, like, not like, oh, there's not a child in this thing, as if there's a coconut.
Like, I get it. Like, if you stop
anything, bro, you're not aware.
If you stop and like have to be like, oh
you
shit,
have to check your phone real quick.
Okay,
why are you
put
checking
your phone back? Like,
be with your
you're
kid.
not aware.
Especially
check
if
your
you're
phone, like,
walking
cool,
through
like
Manhattan,
stop, check it,
and
like,
with one hand on the
be
stroller, as if
dude, like,
you're pushing. I don't even know what. I mean, people carry their dogs more than I see them carry their freaking kids.
Okay, and that's one thing that really pisses me
nothing
off.
To do
with a random tangent is like the fact that people are always People are always saying like, "Oh, times got worse, this and that." Like kids are getting abducted, this and that. It's like, but Or is it the fact that, like, yeah, people just that we're unaware because we're so distracted by everything that's around us that it's like, hey, we're over here. I've seen it multiple times at parks where I'm there, dude. People look at me crazy when I'm at the park with my kid. You know why? My ass is up there climbing around. I'm jumping around. I'm playing, all this stuff. And it's like, why do I do that? One, I love to, and I'm a child at heart. I don't care. Two, because I'm right next to my damn son and ain't nobody touching him if I'm right there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, for me, it's like, I don't know. There might be a disconnect there. I don't know if things have gotten worse or if we just gotten a little distracted and just blaming things on other situations. But back to what we're fucking talking about, carrying. Yeah, carrying can go, with this. So with this, what I would do is definitely go suitcase carry. Why do I say that? Because if you're doing all the stuff that's going to be, the body weight things, you're doing everything bilateral. So you're doing everything, both arms, both sides at the time, the squatting, the hinging, all that stuff. So now let's offset the body a little bit with a suitcase carry.
No, I love that. Boom. I love that.
There we go. I mean, that's
fantastic.
Just
my
reasoning right there.
And there's so many other, because now I'm running through so many other things.
What we'll do is just, there's so many. Yeah, it's like, I was going to say, we could go other ways. It's like, I don't even want to do that because we're already at 34 minutes. It's like, we could go. Yeah, so
shameless
if you guys
plug.
Yeah, if you got questions, you already know. You already know we're gonna have
Wizard over here knows how to do all
links
that cool
to
shit.
book your consultations
Makes
down in the show
makes
notes,
it look great.
in the description.
I was yelling.
It's all on the screen on YouTube. Just go check it out. You'll see it.
I did. I think people got some.
Well, I hope go set yourself up if you need. You can get something out of it. I'll make sure that little workout is in the notes too, so you can kind of come and copy and paste it if you want and use it for yourself and throw out the reps and sets
with what you're trying to do. Like, again, don't get caught in honestly, I'm starting to look at motivation as the most evil thing out there because it makes someone think they're going to go do something, and the next day when they're not motivated, they're not even the next day. It could be an hour and a half later when your boss pissed you off and all of a sudden you're not happy today, and now your whole world's ruined because some people are like that out there. And you're not going to the gym, and now you feel even worse off. You know what I mean? Like, be real. Just be real. Even if it's like, I'm not going to go to the gym, but what I'm not going to do is go home and just binge Netflix. First, I'm going to do one set of each of what Devante Lou said. I'm going to do some, and if you don't have the goblet at home, do split squats, isometric split squats, then do the glute bridges, then do push-ups, then do any of the variations of the pose we said, and you can suitcase carry your kid or some coconuts in the bag. If you don't have coconuts, go get something. I don't have coconuts. I don't know why I'm saying coconuts. Go get something and put it in a bag. And that's it. I love coconuts, baby.
Some fucking dudes in New York talking about coconuts.
Look at a brick. But that's be real with yourself.
There we go.
And that starts slow. You're not gonna be the guy on YouTube tomorrow. The guy you want to be tomorrow starts with the person today.
No.
Later.
Boom.